So I want to welcome you. Thank you for taking the time today to spend with us, and we're happy to fill you in here. I'm excited to be invited to interview our special guest today to talk about this. And we are going to have move things along. We're going to respect your time and during your business day. So today's agenda, just quickly to give you an overview so you know where we're starting and where we're going to. I'm going to introduce myself and our special guest expert. We're going to look at the Telephony Treasure Map. What is the path you need to take? What are the pitfalls you need to avoid? What are the hottest trends? Quick look at the evolution of the prepaid VoIP market and the opportunities, and the most successful business model. This is something you want to pay attention to. We're going to have some real-world proven case studies of the technology and the setup you need to profit from today's prepaid market, and where you need to be focused. Of course, the key factors involved in that, and best practices, systems and solutions, what's the technology, what type of company, those types of things that are really going to help you. So we want to really give you a big picture. We also want to give you some specific case studies of nations around the world on how you can take advantage of this hot opportunity as well. So I'm going to try and avoid hitting my thumbs and going too fast here. I'm your host, Martin Wales, and you may know me from Microsoft Radio most likely. However, I've been the executive producer of PayPal Radio as well, and the original host of the Entrepreneur Magazine eBiz show. How did I come to be here in telephony? Well, I've been a former contributor and columnist in the marketing and technology with TMC Media, as many publications that you're most likely familiar with. If you're not, check them out. They're a great source of information, and I've had some fun being part of some bestsellers on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. But enough about me. Here's the star we are here to see today, and it's Ms. Carrie Fetters, and she is a VoIP industry expert. There's nobody better to tell us about what we need to know about profiting in the world today. So if you can get excited about getting the inside scoop, this is the place, and Carrie's going to share it with us. As you can see, she's helped over 200 service providers implement VoIP and prepaid solutions since 2006. She works directly with clients in the VoIP and, of course, custom needs to tailor fit. There are certainly some out-of-the-box solutions that are probably as cheap as you can get, but they don't necessarily have the power, they don't have the scalability, they don't have the custom fit solution that you need with all of the different telecommunications situations around the world today. So she manages enterprise accounts as well directly, Sandals Resorts being one of them, of course, along with top tier 1 and wireless carriers as well. So Carrie, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Martin. Glad to be here.
Fantastic to have you. Carrie's from IPsmarx, so I just want to tell you a little bit about that, of course, and they're the leading provider of VoIP solutions and prepaid around the world. They've got 1,000, read that again, 1,000 VoIP service providers in over 75 different nations. So great place to find information. You can see they've won lots of awards as well for products and service, and a really fantastic opportunity. They have lots of experience. So it's one thing to buy the server, it's one thing to get the box, it's one thing to get the software, but to have somebody who's got the experience, who's been down the road, seen the ups and downs, understands the trends, then you need IPsmarx technology. So let's get right into it, Carrie. My friend is listening today. They've grabbed a pen and paper. They're going to ask us some questions down the side as we go along. We'll have some time for some Q&A at the end, as I said. But let's just get right into it, and we're going to look at the evolution of prepaid profits.
Okay, great. Yeah, we're going to touch on evolution of the prepaid market today and some of the hottest trends, and then, of course, get into how you can make money with these solutions. So we're going to cover traditional prepaid calling cards, pinless service with e-commerce, pinless recharge through reseller network, rechargeable calling cards, international mobile top-up, and mobile VoIP, which we see as two of the hottest trends today.
Excellent. So that's a great overview, and you could probably recognize some of those terms there, of course, and we're going to get a little deeper. I'm really excited to hear about international mobile top-up. We're going to be talking about that a little later, so stay tuned as we move along here. So let's get right to the treasure map. What are we looking at?
So we want to start with the foundation here, which is really, the prepaid calling card solution, where it all began, printed prepaid phone cards. You go to a store, you buy a phone card, it's got a local phone number and a PIN number on it. You can use it to make international calls. I'm sure we've all used these prepaid phone cards at one time or another, so we don't need to go in too much detail about how they work, but you can see here on this slide a picture which gives you an overview of how our technology works. Basically, you can use our software to develop your own brand of phone card and use our system to take care of billing, call routing, and a voice response system. So, after the webinar, if you want to get more specific details about this particular solution, just put a comment, in the chat section or send us an email and we can get you a complimentary demo. But for the purposes of today's webinar, we want to focus on how you're going to make money using this technology.
Absolutely, and what I really like is the diversity. You can already see the diversity of the marketing. It's a global opportunity. I think probably some of the known or maybe unspoken things are anybody can get started today. The cost of the technology, the cost of even the marketing and using the internet as well to reach out to people. You don't have to have the infrastructure that was required before, so definitely not your father's pirate's treasure map. So looking forward to the information. So I'm wondering why my screen's not moving forward, but here we are. Basically, really what is always my question, and I'm sure my friend listening too, is where's the money? And really the global VoIP market, I did some research just to see how exciting this is. In the global VoIP market in 2012, revenue alone was $63 billion, and even more interesting to me, whether it was 63, 50, 90, is up 9%. So there's growth from year over year, and in today's economy, or actually in the past year's economy for the past couple of years, growth is, that's as near to double digits as you can get, 9 out of 10. So fantastic. And of course, the forecast for the combined market for enterprise VoIP and residential IP phone services, $83 billion by 2017. And again, this isn't just corporate numbers. This is people cumulatively. You can take advantage of this, and if anything, I've noticed that some of the bigger corporations and higher tier people, they cannot serve all markets. They cannot serve the niche markets, and that's where the opportunity lies, and that's what we're going to talk about. Just quickly, I touched on cloud-based because it's definitely something that's there. It's technology in the background that you're going to hear more and more about, and even there's double-digit growth. So look forward to the future there as well. So Carrie, I want to switch things back to you. I've laid the map, the opportunities there. We know there's gold to be found. We know that there's an opportunity. There's gold in them there hills. How can you take us there with prepaid calling cards?
Well, I think one other thing to point out about some of these statistics is, most people don't realize that phone cards are actually supported by voice over IP on the back end. So, we're always seeing stats and figures about the growth of the VoIP market. So keep in mind that prepaid calling card and pinless service falls under that category as well.
That's a great point, and I've always been surprised, and I think it's been for years and years now that most people don't understand that even carrier services, if I'm picking up the phone in my home and dialing my relatives in England from North America, that they very often are fed through VoIP systems as well. So excellent point. Appreciate that.
Yeah, so let's get into how prepaid calling cards can make you money. And this is what we're going to spend some time on here. I know, from the poll especially, it looks like quite a few people here are here on the webinar to learn that, of course. We're going to talk about some of the hidden fees, expiration dates, minute rounding, and how you can profit from unused minutes in phone cards. We're also going to talk about driving your rates down and how you can build traffic in order to do that. We're going to talk about promotional phone cards, and also converting calling card users to recurring business and pinless users. So let's go to the next slide, which is about fees. And you can see here we've got some examples of prepaid phone cards. Actually, Martin, I don't know if you can pass it back to me. Just wanted to mention that these images are actually provided by one of our partners, Allstate Printing. Martin, are you still with me?
Hello. Little internet hiccup there. Actually, it's my fault. I believe I may have accidentally muted, so I'm handing over the reins to you so you can have the slides.
Okay, great. Perfect. Okay, good. So, yeah, just wanted to make sure you could see that there. So you'll see, obviously, when you buy a prepaid phone card at a store, you flip over the back and there's a ton of disclaimers and they're talking about all the different fees. I think we all know that what is generally advertised on the front of a calling card is not what's actually delivered at the end of the day. And this is because calling card providers have advertised an extremely low rate per minute, and then they make up for it by charging additional fees. They also might advertise a low rate to a particular country, but their customers are only able to dial a major city or landline in that country to get the lowest advertised rate. So, if you're dialing a cell phone or a remote area, the rate might be more expensive. So some of these fees include maintenance fees, connection fees, minute rounding, which is, of course, if you talk for 5 seconds, they might round it up and charge you for 2 minutes. This is really standard in the prepaid phone card market. So keep in mind that, when you're trying to determine your profit margin in prepaid phone cards, sometimes the smallest piece of the pie is going to be the straight markup from buying rate to selling rate. So when you're printing phone cards, the majority of profit is actually going to come from fees, unused minutes, expiration dates, and minute rounding. Of course, the markup can still be profitable. If you look at even a 1 or 2 cent markup and you're doing 250,000 minutes a month, for example, you're still looking at $2,500 or $5,000 a month profit just from the markup, and that's a pretty, what we consider, small-scale startup.
Well, Carrie, it's interesting to hear you say that, because my initial thoughts was I would buy low and sell high. So I talked to a carrier, talk about the lines I could get, how much, get the lowest rate possible, and turn around and try and sell it for the most. But it makes sense what you're saying with the competitive market space, with the the lay of the land in the competition as well, whether it's people thinking they can use Skype or something instead, and I know we're going to talk about that, but it's really interesting to hear that a lot of the profit is going to be based in the other charges versus just buy low, sell high.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely, as I mentioned, going to be sort of the larger percentage of the profit. And,
okay.
We're happy to kind of walk through some examples with people individually. Obviously, your profit margin varies depending on the destinations that your customers are going to be calling. So at the end of the webinar, you'll have an opportunity to sign up for a free consultation, and we can actually walk you through some examples based on your specific goals. But we want to talk about rates. Number one question that I get asked every day is, how do I get the lowest rates possible? And as you probably know, wholesale rates are driven by volume. So the more minutes you send to one particular country, the lower rate you can negotiate from your carrier. Just like with anything else, the more you buy, the lower price you might be eligible for. So as a startup, it might take time to build your volume and be eligible for the lowest rates out there. This is why we've seen it's the best practice to focus on a niche market, as Martin touched on earlier. If you focus on a particular community that are all calling the same destination, this will help you build volume and ultimately reduce your buying rate to that particular country. IPsmarx is a carrier too. You can certainly look at our rates. And with our system, you can actually mix and match carriers, which is another great strategy. You might have one carrier that has the best rates to Africa, whereas you have another carrier who has better rates to Southeast Asia. So you want to use both of them and prioritize based on the lowest cost. You can use our system to do that. So, for more about how to choose the right carrier for your business, we have a great free PDF that you can download from our website. Just, send me an email and I'll shoot you the link. And this is some great information for you to learn what to look for when you're choosing a carrier.
And we'll make sure you get Carrie's contact information so you can take advantage of that free report towards the end of our session today. So here again, we're looking at some great colors, some great cards, and I believe these are actual cards that are in use. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. These are some of the calling cards that our existing clients have in the market today.
Excellent. And really capturing your niche market, we talked about you got the whole world. It's, what is it, the world's your pearl or the world's your oyster? There you go, the world's your oyster. So definitely can take advantage of some niche marketing. When you're in competition, I don't think the larger service companies can always take care. Carrie, I've heard horror stories about they just you can't even phone anybody. You can't talk to anybody. So to serve a niche, I think take advantage of the natural barriers as well, which one being language. So you maybe can't even speak in your own language, and in the country that you want to serve. So that's where the opportunity comes for entrepreneurs. That's where the opportunities just begin for somebody who wants to start their own company.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this is where we've really seen the highest success rate with startups. When they target a particular community and they can become the leader in that space, that's really, how they grow and they become more successful. So, as you can see here, some of our clients, will use images that resonate with their own community, like a soccer player, animal, a flower, or a flag, something that says to the customer, okay, this card is designed just for me. And as a result of this type of branding, they start to get more and more customers calling the same destination, which again is what's going to help them drive their rates down. And again, more volume equates to lower rates for the service provider.
Excellent.
The other thing that you can do is offer additional services and features that are catered specifically to your customer base. So, you might differentiate your service by offering better quality to a particular region, unique or convenient dialing features for your customers, or even playing messages in different languages. That, as you mentioned, the IPsmarx system has over 13 different IVR languages. So when a customer dials in to use your phone card, they can, hear everything in Spanish or French or Vietnamese. We have so many different languages available. And if you want to have something customized, even in your own dialect or a language that we don't have, you also have the option to record your own welcome message. So when a customer dials in, you can actually, have something in your own language. You can mention, a regional holiday or something like that to really speak specifically to them.
Excellent. I really like the one example, one of your customers took advantage of the World Cup soccer. I mean, they had people, they had the one brand, the World Cup soccer, and you don't get a more or a hotter sport than soccer globally around the world.
Yeah.
But you had people from all countries coming to one place in South Africa, and I believe did they get an exclusive on that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, even if you did, you've got, a lot of people coming in looking to be phoning home, looking for, call rates in a country they're not familiar with. So that was a great opportunity.
We actually have a great video on our website that, talks more about the specifics of exactly what that company did during FIFA. I guess that was 2 or 3 years ago in South Africa.
There we go. And the other thing that I really like, again, is that you mentioned is the language. So even for your IVR, for your call routing, I mean, that's fantastic. I think that there's a barrier to entry for the big boys right there, so definitely a place to get started. So don't let me interrupt. I really like the next case study because I work often from a marketing standpoint, and as an entrepreneur looking at that, I'm like, I understand exactly what it is. I love the way they use the country. I love the simple colors and the plan. That's the marketing and design part. Why don't you fill us in on the specs of this?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what we really want to talk about here is how you can compete with some of the larger players that are out there like Skype or Vonage or Boss Revolution. These are some of the names that you hear quite often. And, if you're thinking about starting this business, I'm sure one of your friends has asked you, well, how are you going to compete with Skype? So many of our customers have had that same concern. And what they've found is that the larger players are focused on a broad message and many destinations. They don't specifically cater to smaller niche markets. So sometimes people get frustrated, with the quality of voice or the customer service provided by these larger players. And if they can find a smaller service provider that has good quality to their own country, they seem to like dealing with these companies better. So this is why I wanted to bring up another one of our clients, Hotel, which you see on our screen here. This is their homepage, immediately they're focused on Bangladesh from the second you go to their website. And, if you're from Bangladesh and you're looking for a calling service, everything from their brand, their message, and even their quality of service is going to be much more appealing to you, than going to a generic site. So we also want to think about customer service here. If you're calling a remote area in Bangladesh and you have a problem with quality and you want to report that to a big company, they're probably not going to take the time to really address that issue. However, a company like this, they've really built their business on calling Bangladesh, and so they're constantly going to be taking measures to improve their quality and they're also probably going to have accessible customer service to help. And Martin, as you probably know better than I do, once you have a satisfied customer, they're going to spread the word, and that's the best type of marketing. Martin, are you there?
Yeah, I am absolutely here.
Okay.
I'm muting. I got a bit of a scratchy throat, so I didn't want to cough. So I will keep the green button on. That was a nice transition that you just mentioned in capturing what I call a beachhead. So if you want to get into a market, you want to get a toehold, then really finding the weakness in the current service provision. Customer service is one of them. Language is another. And you said, I thought it was a nice transition to the next slide, was that you can actually take advantage of customer satisfaction, and you can actually have a 75% increase in profit just by having a 5% increase in customer retention. That just shows you how important it is. Certainly you have to build your customer base, and you can do that by some of the things we've already seen, culturally creative, whether it's the flag or the flower or famous athletes from that country. But really, once you're in the door and you build that customer base, you have two opportunities here. And kind of skipped to the second one because of the nice bridge there, but going back to the first one, once you've got the customer base, what can you do, Carrie?
Okay, so yeah, once you've established a customer base, they're maybe going to the stores and they're buying your prepaid phone cards. What we've really seen as a good next step is to start offering pinless service. So, we all know how a calling card works. We already talked about the fact that you dial an access number, enter a PIN, and the call connects. The next logical step is pinless, and pinless works a bit differently. A customer might go to your website and sign up for an account. They would enter the phone number that they'll be calling from during the sign-up process, and then they're given a local phone number to dial. They never have to enter a PIN because the system recognizes the number they're calling from, and that's how the account is verified. So you'll see on your screen another example of one of our existing clients, WOW Telecom. The strategy that they took is, it's a good strategy that sort of also speaks to the evolution of prepaid. They started by selling prepaid printed phone cards and establishing distribution, nationwide. Then they started using these phone cards as advertising to get people to come to their website and sign up for a pinless account. So you can see here that they're actually catering to a larger market in terms of destinations people can call. But they also have printed cards in the market. So in this model, when you're looking at e-commerce and pinless, it's not as common to charge so many fees, like connection fee and maintenance fee. The extra money here is made on minute rounding, and also just from a savings of not having to pay printing cost or reseller and agent commissions. The key to the success of this model is building a loyal customer base that comes back and uses your service consistently because it's convenient. So this is also where you would see more profits. With a prepaid phone card, the customer might buy your brand today, but they turn around tomorrow and buy a different brand. So with pinless, you're really establishing a loyal customer base, and Martin had a great stat about customer retention and how much that can really increase your profit. So by taking advantage of this and also some of the features like auto recharge and the convenience of not having to enter a PIN, you can really establish a more loyal customer base. And
So
once you have that
Sorry,
customer base, you can offer additional incentives like bonus points, free minutes, and you can do a referral program to increase loyalty as well.
I was just going to say that's a nice contrast. So to Kuhu Telecom in Bangladesh there, where slightly different model. These guys are more global. You can see Africa, Europe, Latino, Asia, Oceania. So really more of an internet-based model here, keeping their costs down in terms of marketing costs. But again, both sort of come back to a loyal customer base, of course. But what I really like is that you provide the nuances in the business model here, and that's the advantage I like when I talk to people at IPsmarx, is I hear it's the distinctions here, because this is really a business that's made on minutes and pennies. And it's an accumulation of those things in the hundreds of thousands that makes you successful at this business. So it's really great to hear that expertise, so appreciate it. Didn't mean to step on your toes there when we do this virtually. Passing the microphone back and forth can be fun. So great explanation, appreciate that. What's the next step?
Okay, so moving right along, once you've gotten into pinless, there are more things you can do. You've established a loyal customer base. Now you can work on a distribution channel, resellers and agents who can promote your service. And this model is really exciting. We've seen a lot of growth with this in the past couple of years. It's pinless recharge and reseller model. This is a way that your agents can quickly set up and recharge pinless accounts, and obviously will add a new profit source for maybe some of the stores that are already promoting your phone cards. There's no computer or internet access needed in the store to actually create a pinless account or to recharge. So agents really like this model. And we also have a feature that enables you to market to your customers using text messaging. So we want to talk about a specific example of how this pinless recharge reseller model was implemented successfully. We have a customer based in Florida who was a startup, an entrepreneur, and they were actually able to increase their monthly revenue by $500,000 a month within just 6 months after implementing this pinless reseller solution. So definitely want to touch on how they did that. I think, as we all know, there are a few well-known pinless providers in the market offering services similar to Boss Revolution. The model is simple for resellers. Customers can just walk into a store, they give the person behind the desk their phone number and $10 cash, for example, automatically they walk out the door with a pinless account that they can use. The model is so simple for resellers and agents that this particular client was able to sign up major chain stores like Albertsons Grocery, for example, because the employees didn't need to enter a lot of information during the sign-up process. And it can also be done over the phone. The agents don't need to have a computer to do this. They can actually create the accounts through the IVR menu over the phone. To take it one step further, this particular client capitalized on SMS marketing. So they used our text messaging features to reach out to their end users with promotions and low balance notifications, which again created a large pool of recurring business.
Well, Carrie, I might add in there from a marketing standpoint, we've all heard about the challenges with email marketing, the spam filters, the deliverability, bounce backs, the whole deal, versus SMS texting or text messaging that some people refer to. The beauty of this is the people are carrying your customers. The phone is what they're using. They're not sitting at a computer, so the device that you're actually marketing to them enables you to market to them better. The open rates are 85% and higher for text messaging, and people read them right away, and they generally respond right away. So the pinless model just goes hand in hand with the actual telephony device that we're selling services for. So you can't get a more miraculous combination than that.
Okay, great point. So, again, just to go over the highlights of this model, it enables you to build agent loyalty, convert traditional prepaid calling card buyers into loyal pinless calling card customers. This is really important because I think you'll find that this market is heavily cash paying. The people who are using prepaid phone cards, they want to walk into a store and pay cash for service. They don't necessarily want to go online and have to have a credit card to purchase these types of services. So this ability for them to walk into a store and create a pinless account but still be able to pay cash and recharge gives them all the convenience of the pinless service without having to have a credit card or go online and use a website.
Well, I think that's really an excellent example of serving your second level of customer, which is your agents. And there's other competition who want those people to become their agents or brokers, if you will. So if you have a better business system, so it's really great not having to have a laptop in the store. It's really great that it's something that customers come in It's a consumable, so just like buying their milk at the store, they're going to come in and recharge their card. So again, just really like the business model of this, even aside from the technology. So
Yeah,
fantastic
absolutely.
information.
Absolutely, and it goes back to our point again about how to compete with the larger players, because if you ask any agent who's reselling for one of the sort of nationwide brands if they're happy with the corporation they're reselling for, the answer is probably going to be no. And they would much rather have personalized, support from the company that they're promoting. And that's what some of these smaller players have been able to do. And then, obviously once you've built this network of agents and customers, there are even more additional services that can be used to upsell your existing customers. And more services that you can offer to your agents to sell, and they can increase their profits as well. So we want to talk about two of these specifically, one of them being rechargeable calling cards, and the other being international mobile top-up, which I think we're all really excited about. So rechargeable calling cards, again, are designed for the cash-paying customer who prefers not to have to use a website or a credit card to buy minutes. The rechargeable calling cards allow a customer to still walk into a store and buy a card, but what happens when they go to use this card is it automatically becomes pinless after the first use, so they don't have to enter a PIN every time they use the card. Then they can go back to the store and buy a second, third, fourth card, and they can add the balance from those cards to the original card. So again, they don't have to remember the PIN, and you can use the same features of text message, SMS marketing, and some incentives, like you can offer them $1 free upon the first use and so forth, to really increase the chances of the customer come back to buy your service because it's more convenient. It also gives you an opportunity to continue to market to them. The mobile top-up is a service that you can actually sell through your own website, but your resellers and agents can sell this as well, similar to the way they're selling the pinless service. Mobile top-up is actually a little bit different. It addresses people in other countries. So let's say you're here in the U.S., but your mom is in India, and she's using a prepaid cell phone. All you need to do is walk into a store, give mom's cell phone number to the agent, and $10 cash. Automatically, that balance is transferred to your mom's cell phone in India so she can make and receive calls. So we're seeing a lot of agents. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit there, so I'm going to ask you to repeat it just in case somebody missed that.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. So again, mobile top-up, let's use the example, you might be here, your mom is based in India. She has a prepaid cell phone in India. All you have to do is go to a website or walk into a store, give mom's cell phone number and the balance, let's say $10. Automatically, that balance of $10 is transferred to mom's prepaid cell phone account in India. So now she can make and receive calls.
Excellent. And that actually refers back to one of the biggest ways to grow the business, and maybe we didn't say this specifically, was a buzz, the word of mouth. And when besides the cultural network, it's about family. And by gifting, your customers are actually using viral marketing, if you will, by gifting the example, you're gifting your mother the phone time, and it makes sure that those funds are being spent on what you wanted them spent on, sure, but really it's keeping families closer together, and it's only going to spread to cousins, uncles, nephews, aunts, and so on. So really it's kind of a natural form of marketing which is costs less. And on one hand, maybe you need some momentum to get it started, but once it's rolling, it's something that occurs naturally. So that's a great idea, and love to hear about the top-up.
Yeah, so absolutely, we're seeing a lot of traction with this, especially in convenience stores, bodegas, retail locations that offer money transfer, for example. It seems like people prefer to send cell phone credit as opposed to cash because the transaction fee is much lower. And then, of course, they know exactly what the recipient is using the funds for, as you mentioned.
Excellent. So really we're talking, we've mentioned mobile top-up. That really brings us next to the mobile VoIP market. We're really in a world that's sort of getting smaller, and people are moving around it more, but even technology-wise, it's indicated by the move from desktop computers was to laptops. Now it's definitely smartphones and tablets. So let's talk a little bit about the mobile VoIP market and what you see going on there, Carrie.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of hard to keep it brief because there's so much going on, with the smartphone market, and everybody wants to get a piece of it. There's a ton of growth. By 2013 alone, they're predicting 288 million mobile VoIP users, which means these apps are becoming more and more prevalent. And it's, sort of at the beginning of the trend where there's a lot of opportunity for startups and entrepreneurs to get into this space and really, make a play to have a large-scale business with it.
That's fantastic. I know that IPsmarx, as a leader in VoIP solutions, has been already, dealing with this for 3 years now at least. So
we have,
I'd love it if you could mention a little bit about your product, Breeze.
Yeah, so Breeze is the application developed by IPsmarx. It is a voice over IP smartphone application. Basically, what you can do with it is you can brand it yourself. When we brand it for you, it's your logo, your brand name. Customers don't see IPsmarx or Breeze anywhere on the app. Your customers can go online using their Android or their iPhone. They can download the app and they can begin making calls using their data plan instead of their cell phone minutes. So they're totally bypassing the cell phone network to make international calls. We also have a version of this app specifically tailored to pinless users where your customers can download the app. It interfaces with their existing contact list. So they want to call mom, they just click on mom within the app. It automatically connects. What the app is doing behind the scenes is it's actually still dialing the local access number of your pinless service, and then, of course, mom's destination phone number. But it just makes it so much easier for your customer to use your pinless service. So this, again, goes back to, convenience.
That's awesome. I mean, that's really what I call the epitome of the evolution of technology, where you don't see the technology. I think we've seen the success of Apple and their Mac, and it partly designed, but it's also, you don't see a lot of the technology. You just point and touch. There's no, opening a window, finding a program, opening that up, putting in some numbers. You've eliminated almost all the steps. I'm on the beach, and the hotel's got the system set up. I just hit, like you said, I hit my parents' number, and boom. I don't even need to remember. I mean, I used to remember buying calling cards and scratching off and putting in all numbers. And
right, and who remembers anybody's phone number these days anyway? I mean,
exactly. I mean, it's hard to call your own wife.
Right.
What's your wife's number? I don't know.
Exactly.
So definitely a good point and bad point. Sorry, Annie. So, so that's great information. We've covered a lot of information here. We've looked at business models. We've looked at case studies. We've looked at slightly different models. So one was for Bangladesh, Kuhu Telecom, and still transitioning people from calling cards to pinless. And then we looked at WOW Telecom, and we looked at all of these different things. I want to get started. How do I start looking for the solution provider to get me rolling here?
Well, Martin, I'm actually going to pass this back to you real quick,
okay,
and then get into this slide. Okay, so going back to you.
Okay, well, there we go. I'm going to have to make my PowerPoint bigger again. Here we go, technology in the making. So slideshow here. Slideshow. From current slide. There we go. All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you. One moment, please. So here we are, talking about getting the right solution provider. It's Carrie. She just got me back on track here. Really, like I said, we've mentioned a lot of things, and Carrie's from a solution provider with the experience. And Carrie, I know that you've dealt with a lot of customers who come to you after dealing with other situations. So I'm going to hand the baton back over to you. As a proven technology partner, what should people be looking for?
Okay, so you want to start this business. It's the first time in the industry. What do you do? What do you look for? You're definitely going to need to find somebody who can provide the technology you need to make all of these things happen, right? And what you want to look for is somebody who obviously has a proven track record. IPsmarx has been in the industry since 2001, as we already mentioned. We have 1,000 customers using the system. So we have excellent, case studies and customer testimonials and that kind of thing. So you want to make sure the technology partner that you choose has the same sort of experience. You want to look for flexibility and a solution that can be customized or tailored to help your business grow. We maintain an in-house R&D team. That's very unique in our space. If you look at the example that we gave about, the new boss in town, pinless recharge reseller, there were some features that that company required in order to grow their business and get the type of accounts they needed to get to really grow to that size. So they made use of our R&D team in order to do that. Also, not only a track record on the technology and R&D side, but a company that has a good track record of technical support and customer service. You're starting the business for the first time. You want to make sure your customers are happy. So you need a company you can rely on if any problems or concerns come up. And we've been very successful with that.
Well, you know what? When in selling technology, for the years that I've been selling it, technology will always have its challenges. There's always issues to be fixed, and the best company that I always found to work with was how did they react when there was an issue? How fast did they react? What was their escalation policy? Even if they didn't end up solving the problem, sometimes it was the best effort that I'd ever seen to try and fix a problem. Sometimes the answer is no, but the thing that I love about IPsmarx is generally it's just the effort and the persistence to do those things. So I've heard great things from several people about what you do, so I congratulate you on that as well. So I think, again, if you're going into a new enterprise, if you're looking for an opportunity, if you want to go on a diet, you ask someone who used to be fat who is now thin. You don't just go to someone who wishes they were thin and is not there yet. So if you're looking at pinless and the industry and you want to get rolling, then definitely you want to make sure that you deal with these characteristics going down the line. So thanks again, Carrie. One of the things that I want to do when I start a business is hit the ground running. So what can I do to get started, and what's it take?
Okay, so first of all, as we mentioned, you need the solution, which is the soft switch and calling card platform that IPsmarx provides. To start the prepaid phone card business, you really only need 3 additional things. You need the access phone numbers that your customers are going to dial. And IPsmarx actually partners with DID providers. DIDs are another name for the phone numbers. And we negotiate on our clients' behalf to get bulk pricing and best quality for our customers. You also need a server. This is the only piece of hardware you need to get started. I'm kind of reviewing some of the questions that we've gotten throughout the webinar. And one of the questions is about gateways. Definitely do not need a gateway to operate this solution anymore. We used to sell gateways maybe 6 years ago or so, and it's not needed now. Everything is VoIP-based. So the server is the only piece of hardware you need. And again, IPsmarx works with a couple of server hosting vendors that get bulk pricing for our customers. So just for $100 a month, you can get a hosted server through one of our reliable partners. You don't need to have any hardware at your location. And the last thing you'll need, as we already talked about, is the carrier who can connect your calls. And that could be IPsmarx or any other carrier of your choice, and we'll help you with that. So what we want to emphasize here is for a startup business, it does result in low recurring monthly costs to maintain these requirements.
Excellent. That's what I always like to hear is, slow, the amount that I invest is a smart risk. I'm going to see some return on investment sooner than later, so definitely want to hear about that. I know that IPsmarx has satisfied clients around the world. I mean, you can see there. I'm not going to read them all. You can see them. But how many again? It's over 1,000 clients in over 65 countries, and I believe even the country number has been going up. So nothing but growth. So that's really, I think, what you want to look for is how other people are dealing with a company, not just what they're saying about themselves. So, Carrie, let's talk about the free consultation and how to get a hold of you, and then we can address some of the questions that have come in during this time.
Okay, great. So what we're offering here is a free consultation with one of our experienced account managers. Normally what we do to help our clients get started is we want to talk to you about your ideas for starting the business and how we can help you do that. Again, if you want some guidance in terms of, well, how do I figure out how to make profit and what's the return on my investment going to be, we can walk you through specific examples based on your particular market. So if you'd like to sign up to do that, just have a quick call or a long call depending on how many questions you have. You can call us in Canada, 416-665-6999, or in Virginia, 703-779-3594, or you can email info@IPsmarx, it's IPsmarx is an X-ray.com, and we'll be happy to set up a call to get you on the right path to getting started.
Absolutely. I highly recommend that you do that. You heard Carrie, whether it's short or long, it's free. So there's, 2 times free is free. And again, don't forget to ask about how you can grab a copy of any of the PDF reports that we mentioned as well. And definitely take advantage of that. And you can get a hold of Carrie or one of the other support team, one of the other experts there, and they will take you by the hand and step by step through the process and present other case studies or what would be most beneficial and related for you. So I want to thank you for your time here today. If you do have to zip off, but we are going to be doing some Q&A. Carrie, do you want to just dip into the question bag there and pull out one that was most commonly asked, and we'll start with that one.
Yeah, I'm going through some of these questions. We have a lot of great questions. It looks like one of the most common is, how long does it take to get started and to get into business? That's a great question. Again, once you purchase our system, there's only a few things that you need to get set up. So normally, in terms of getting the system installed, it takes about 2 weeks from the time that you make the purchase. And then from there, it's up to you, how quickly you can get your marketing together to print the cards and that kind of thing. So relatively short time frame to get this set up. Again, it's not a brick and mortar where you have to lease a space and hire a bunch of employees. So you can get started pretty quickly.
Excellent. Let's pull out number 2.
Okay, let me go through here and see what I can find. Somebody's asking, Yemi is asking about RebTel. And this is another one of the major companies similar to Boss Revolution that's out there today offering pinless service. And he wants to know how he can compete with a company like that. In addition to the other things that we mentioned, one of the things that RebTel has done to build their business is something called DID forwarding. And it's a great point because we didn't bring that up during the webinar today, but it is a feature that IPsmarx does offer. DID forwarding is another convenient feature similar to a pinless service. When a customer goes to your website and signs up for an account, they can also select maybe their top 5 or 10 friends that they want to call most frequently. And what the system will do is it will assign a local phone number for each of those 5 or 10 people. So you can save them to the contact list on your phone. And again, without even downloading an app, you can just click on the contact and the local phone number will be dialed, automatically forwarding the call to the international destination. So another great convenient service, and you can certainly do the same thing using an IPsmarx solution.
Excellent. And we've got a lot of questions here, so we do want to answer the ones that are going to serve the audience the best right now. If your specific question does not get answered, then certainly please do shoot off an email to info@ipsmarx.com, and you can always use either of those telephone numbers on your screen right now as well. And, the 416 number or the 703 in Virginia, United States. Carrie.
Yeah, another great question from Mr. Anusa. He is asking about fees and expiration dates, which are kind of hidden from the customer. He's saying, maybe this isn't the best strategy for customer retention. And that is a good point. I think if you look at the phone card market, though, this is sort of par for the course. And I think it would be pretty difficult to offer a phone card with no fees. And this is why we recommend, if you don't want to charge fees, to really get involved in some of the more current technologies like pinless and the voice over IP applications for smartphones and international mobile top-up. These are models that don't require you to necessarily charge fees, but you can also, build a large customer base and increase, the loyalty of your customers.
Now, there's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of debate about, the best way to go. Generally, test and track is what I suggest. And the other thing is you get going and listen to the marketplace, listen to your customers. And a lot of providers have opportunities to get feedback from their customers and implement those things, and that leads to your business growing. So definitely want to take advantage of that. And I'll wait until you've got your next question, Carrie.
Yeah, well, I think that's really all the time we have for today, but I will take some time and make sure I answer each and every one of these. We got about 60 questions here, so we'll take some time offline to answer them.
Right. I was going to say you can also check out IPsmarx.com and find, besides the free reports, frequently asked questions. And again, you can always contact the team, like Carrie said, with your specific questions. And we will actually, Carrie, if you want, you can probably, I know you guys do a lot of email communications with your customers and your client base as well. So a lot of those questions, the winners will be selected and answered probably in that form as well. So certainly stay in touch.
Absolutely, we can do that too.
Well, there you go. So as I said, we do want to respect your time. We appreciate you being here today and joining us for today's session on the Telephony Treasure Map and how to profit and the marketplace today. So again, I'll wrap it up by saying we're keeping our promise, and we'll let you get on with your day, but maybe the next step and the first thing you want to do is email info@ipsmarx.com to ask for a free consultation to have all your questions answered and make sure you're taking the right steps. And obviously, we all want to be careful with our coins. So I want to thank Carrie for being with us today, and I appreciate your insights and your expertise and your professionalism. And I'm Martin Wales, and I hope you can join us again next time we pull together one of these content-rich sessions brought to you by IPsmarx Technology. Bye for now.